Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us for this evening's edition of HR Mentorship Learning Series. Tonight, our facilitator is Mr. Seun Olabode Badiru, and he'll be taking us on the topic HR as a business architect, designing a winning business model. My name is Oluyemi Adeosun, and I would like to read very quickly part of the profile of our facilitator. Seun Olabode Badiru is a dynamic, result-driven business leader with over 20 years of experience in business process re-engineering, digital transformation, strategic leadership, and human resource management. He's the co-founder of Africa Tech Hub, cutting-edge organization dedicated to empowering individuals and businesses through transformative learning and strategic consulting with a focus on innovation and tech-driven solutions. In addition to this, he juggles multiple responsibilities within the Redeemed Christian Church of God. Seun holds a master's degree in business administration and a Bachelor of Science degree in mechanical engineering from Olabisi Onabanjo University and Lagos State University, respectively. In addition to this, he is a full member of the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management of Nigeria, and he has pursued additional professional development around strategic leadership and management, managed by University of Illinois, USA, intellectual property law by the University of Pennsylvania, USA, and American contract law by the prestigious Yale University. He also has certifications including Scrum, Agile, project management, digital marketing, multimedia production, user experience design, business analysis, cyber security, to mention a few. I must say that Seun is a polymath of some sort. I'm excited to hand over control of this meeting to Seun Olabode Badiru as he facilitates the session on HR as business architect, designing a winning business model. If you can, please put on your video and proceed with the session. Thank you.
Okay, please confirm you can hear me.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My internet is not too strong. And where I am now, if you would permit me to, I think it's best to have a seamless presentation, devoid of knockoffs, if you don't mind. We are still going to enjoy this, and if time permits, we are going to actually I'll walk you through the workbook. I created a workbook from the scratch. So if time permits, I'll walk you through the workbook. But if we can't take that in this meeting, that means we will schedule another time that I will be able to walk you through. By the help of God, I've designed several business models. And because I also oversee, a group of youths in our church. So my assignment basically is to help them develop their business and prosper. So, and then we've also done this for a couple of MSMEs. So I'm excited that this topic is coming up this evening, especially for us as HR leaders. So we'll look at it from the HR perspective, and if time permits, we do hands-on. Would directly go to how to sincere appreciation to he's an elected council member of Adia Institute, the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management. Congratulations on your recent appointment. So without much ado, standing Nigeria. Is also a PhD holder, and congrats. We are looking at HR as a business architect, and sincere apologies. A call is trying to obstruct my flow. So we will look at HR as a business architect and designing a winning business model. Okay, that's my big head right there with my profile. I'm sure when you get the slide, you can look into it. So as a matter of introduction, for the longest time, HR was mostly seen as an administrative function. I know we all know that. Handling payroll, keeping employee files in order and making sure policies were followed. And while that still matters, today the world of work has changed, and so must we. Today, HR is not just about processes and compliance anymore. We are being called into a more strategic role. We are being called into a more strategic role where not just supporting the business, we are helping to actually shape it. So we are now expected to show up as real strategic partners that actually help define how the business runs and grow. Yes, beyond just handling payrolls, keeping files, and making sure policies are followed. We are expected to show up as real strategic partners that help the business run and grows. That means practically, HR has to move from being a support arm to becoming what I like to call a business architect, someone who really understands the business model and who contributes meaningfully to strategy and helps design how value is created, how value is delivered, and how value is sustained in the organization. And to do that, there's a mindset shift that needs to happen. Yes, a mindset shift needs to happen. We have to move from just focusing on administration to thinking strategically, from being all about processes to focusing on real value creation, from acting as internal service providers to showing up as business co-creators. And this evolution is not just a nice to have, it's a must to have, and it's really urgent. So why is this evolution urgent? Why it's urgent? It's urgent because businesses today are facing disruptions left, right, and center, and there's economic volatility, rapid digital transformation, workforce expectations shifting fast, and the competition is very fierce. It's very, very fierce, and in that kind of environment, what makes the real difference is agility, is innovation. So workforce that is completely aligned with the business direction. So that's where HR comes in. We are uniquely positioned to influence all of that. And when we understand the business model, when we align talents with growth strategy, when we build structures that enable innovation and execution, what we are really doing is architecting success, long-term sustainable success. So we look at why this evolution is urgent. We'll continue looking at this, and so businesses, a business model is the core logic of how an organization creates, delivers, and capture value. And it's a blueprint for making money and staying sustainable. So at the end of the day, a business model is really just the logic behind how an organization creates, delivers, and captures values. It's the blueprint for how the company operates, and frankly, how it stays alive, you know, how it makes money and sustains itself over time. So put it simply, it helps to answer, you know, the questions you are seeing on your screen. Number one, who exactly are we serving? Number two, what are we offering? Number three, how are we getting it to them? And last but not least, how does the business generate revenue from all of that? That is the summary of what a business model is, you know. Who exactly are we serving? What are we offering them? How are we getting it to them, their offerings, and how does the business generate revenue from all of that? Because at the end of the day, business is about profits. So now that we have known all of that, and for us as HR professionals who want to show up as strategic partners, we need to move past the surface level understanding and actually engage with the structure of this model. And there's a framework a lot of businesses use. It simply breaks the model down into a few key components, you know, and I found this really helpful, very helpful. I used to, there is the business model, and there is the, we call it the business model canvas, and there's the lean canvas. I'm going to teach you both. So I'll discuss the business model canvas, and if time permits, I'll walk you through the hands-on session on the lean canvas. And with that, you're able to see all of the details of your business even before you launch into it. So you keep updating it as you scale. And then with that, nothing is missed and there is no surprise, you know, anywhere, because you've planned the entire scenario out, and you are just working with that plan and scaling, you're updating, and with that, you are able to really maintain a competitive advantage against competition. So I'm speaking to us now from my standpoint. I've transited from HR into business leadership. I started HR as early as, accidentally though, because I had a mechanical engineering background. So I accidentally stumbled, staggered into HR. How many years ago? 2008 is how many years ago? We can't remember, but do the mathematics. So we've been there back and forth, you know, entering into it, even without knowing what we were really doing then, you know, failed forward and learned all of the details, you know, from recruitment and selection to onboarding to learning and development, you know, talent management, performance management, issues around policies, you know, payroll management. You know, we just kept moving on, and from there we got a bit tired of doing HR as a traditional thing, and we transited into business leadership. And thank God we had a very strong foundation in HR. So now that we have transited into business leadership, now all of those knowledge are working for us. So from my standpoint now, I'm looking at all of these details, and we are looking at all of these, and that's what we are bringing to you today to also discuss. I know some of you here also are business leaders in your own rights, and it's just laudable, and it's a good thing that, you know, you learn business model development, and you are able to apply it to your organizations, because again, it positions you as a real value those that add value. I think value adders, if there's a language like that, to your organization. So first is the value proposition. As you can see on your screen, what unique value are we bringing to the table? What unique value are we bringing to the table? What problems are we solving, you know, or what needs are we meeting for customers? Everywhere I teach this, I tell them, you know, you look at yourself, the unique strengths of the organization, and, you know, you look at real problems in the world, real problems resident with your customers that you have the resources to solve. If your organization does not have capacity in medicine, please don't say because people are falling sick, you want to go and begin to treat sick people. You don't have capacity. You don't have the resources to do that. So the problems you are looking to solve within the organization, you must have the capacity to solve that problem. So value proposition is number one. Number two, you are looking at customer segments. Who are the people or businesses you are targeting? What defines them? What are their needs? Then number three, revenue streams. This is where we ask how exactly the organization will be making money from the value it's providing. Is it charity you want to do? You know, so you need revenue. Then there's key activities, the most critical things that we must do to make this model actually work. That could be product development, you know, marketing, service delivery. It depends on your business. And then next is key resources, you know, the essential assets that we need in place to deliver that value, you know, and this could be people, it could be capital issues, it could be technology, it could be intellectual property, and, you know, and so on. Then we have key partnerships, external players that, you know, are vital to our ability to deliver, you know. Think of vendors, suppliers, you know, what else? Consultants, you know, even strategic alliances that are essential to the delivery of the value you want to deliver, you know. So then we have the cost structure. The cost structure, you know, what are the major expenses involved in making all of that happen? And as HR professionals, when we understand this, building blocks. We are in a better position to align talents. That's where it comes in, because I know some of you may have been wondering, what's my business with all of this? Understanding this will position you properly to align talent, to align structure, to align culture, with what the business is actually trying to achieve. You see clearly, so you position yourself, you're able to offer value as a true business partner, and not a copy and paste person, not as a copy and paste person. I hope my internet is not messing up. Okay. Okay, I think I'm back. Okay, so we move to the next slide, and this is we just want to look at why HR must understand the business model here. Now people are the center of every successful business model. No matter how brilliant the strategy is, without the right people in the right roles, executing in the right environment, it won't hold. It's not going to hold up, and that's why as HR professionals, we have to understand the organization's business model, and I mean, we need to know, how does the company actually make money? Yes, enough of HR presenting itself as a cost center. Abishe, we know the tire for Isolenuni, enough of, we should have gotten past all of this. We need to know exactly, we must be involved in how the company makes money. Who are we serving? What are our competitive advantage? That's our competitive edge. Because without that understanding, it's tough, if not impossible, to align our people's strategies with what the business is trying to achieve. I recently took a course on finance. I have a professional certificate now on finance, and it's all of these issues that are driving me to do that, just to have an understanding of what they are thinking, at the table. If you are going to have a seat at the table, then you must think like those that are already sitting at the table. If not, all of our people strategies, nobody will respect it, and all of our budgets will keep having problems with finance. Are going to keep having problems with finance. So every decision we make in HR, whether it's around hiring, developing capabilities, shaping culture, or structuring the organizations, it all needs to tie back. Yes, we need to tie it back to the core values that the business delivers. If we don't get the business model, we risk doing great HR work that does not actually move the business forward. Yes, busy but barren, you are sweating and you are lamenting, you are complaining. Few people should appreciate your work, but if your work is not moving the business forward, irony, nobody is going to respect you. And in today's environment where markets are shifting, there's digital disruption as the norm, and customer expectations are evolving by the minute. We cannot afford to operate in silos. We need to build talent and culture that are ready for this place, talent that are ready for this space and this complexity, this level of competition. So we really need to hone our skills, our competence, and our game on this. And now when HR is informed, really informed about the business, how the business runs, what now begins to happen is that you start hiring not just based on skill set, but on business fits. Yes, you are hiring rightly. Start building learning and development initiatives that are aligned with where the company is going, not just where it has been. Yes, so we get everything right, and you are able to design reward systems that reinforce performance in ways that matter for the bottom line. Yes, please, I encourage us to take courses in finance. You are going to understand that what really matter to those at the top is the EBITDA, earnings before income, tax, and all of that. So this should not be about understanding the model for curiosity's sake. We must be able to drive value and be able and become true business partners in this, not in title, but in impact. So I'm just going to rush. The reason I'm rushing this is I want to see how I can explain all of these to us, so we can jump into the practical session as soon as possible. So let's move to the next slide. HR's role in business model design. Yes, what's our role? We've explained why HR needs to understand the business, the organization's business model. Now, what is our role in the business model design? Now, as HR professionals, we are actually in a unique position to shape how the organization operates, how it scales and how it stays competitive. And one of the most powerful ways to do that is by playing an active role in the design and execution of the business model itself, and how how you're going to step into that kind of role with confidence. Number one, let's look at talent strategy and alignment. And this is where you as HR professional really start to create visible value. This is where you start to create visible value. A job is not just, to hire people, is to make sure the right people are in the right roles and at the right time, doing the right things to drive the business forward. And that means you are not just reacting to vacancies, you are thinking ahead. You are identifying and attracting, talents whose skills, mindsets, and, growth potential actually align with where the business is actually going. You are developing a talent strategy that supports more than just day-to-day operations. You are thinking about value creation, customer satisfaction. You are thinking of long-term competitiveness and a host of others. And most importantly, you are building leadership pipelines. You not only plugging short-term gaps, you are preparing future-ready leaders and specialists who will help evolve, the business as it grows and changes. Because, no business strategy succeeds without the right people behind it. So a well-aligned talent strategy, like I said earlier, it's not a nice to have, it's the engine room, the real engine room, and because it powers everything. So number two, workforce planning and agility. Workforce planning and agility. Please note, I know some of us already know, but if you don't know that business models are not fixed, they evolve. Market shifts, tech disrupts everything, customer expectations change. All of these are constants. And if the business model is evolving, then workforce has to evolve right along with it. The business model is evolving due to market shifts, tech disruption, customer expectations changing continually. That means workforce has to also evolve right along with it. Else, you are going to have people with yesterday's skills trying to.
Thank you so much.
Hello. Sorry, there is interruption. Please, can you mute?
Okay.
Sorry, I think somebody unmuted.
No, he's driving out. He just came to drop us.
Okay. So I think we've taken care of that. So sorry. Okay, so where was I? Okay, workforce planning and agility. So I was saying, your workforce has to also evolve along with all the disruptions that is taking place. And this is where you come in as HR. Our role is to stay ahead of the curve, to really understand where the business is going, and then we start thinking, what kind of workforce will we need to get to where this business is going? What capabilities are we going to need, more of? What skills might become obsolete? Where are the gaps? We need to begin to ask all of these questions as we understand the business of the organization. And that's where data becomes powerful, That's where data becomes powerful. We need to move beyond headcounts, or attrition numbers. We need to be using insights to actually project where the opportunities and risks are. And then, we act on it. So we shouldn't just collate data, on Excel sheets from the dashboards, from HRIS for collating sake. We need to use all of these to generate insights that will help us, to move forward powerfully. And beyond that, we need to start building flexibility into our people strategy. Yes, we need to build flexibility into our people strategy, whether it's encouraging cross-functional capabilities, designing, agile work models, reshaping team structures, so they can respond quickly when things shift. We need to build flexibility into our people strategy, because at this point, agility should go beyond buzzwords, that we say agility. It must be a real strategic advantage for us as HR and for the organization. Businesses that can move fast and adapt smartly are the ones that will definitely thrive. And as HR, we are the ones who make that possible. We are the ones that make that possible by helping the organization build not just the workforce it needs today, but the ones that is going to need tomorrow. So I've taken enough time to explain workforce planning and agility to us. So let's move to the next one: scalable, efficient organizational design. The brilliant business model can still fail if the structure behind it is not built to support the model. I've seen it happen, great ideas, solid strategy, but the organization simply cannot deliver because it's either too bloated, too rigid, or, just not aligned. And as HR, we have a responsibility here, We're not just to fill roles, we must design how the business works. We must design it, how the business works. And that means we need to be thinking, is the structure lean enough to be efficient, but flexible enough to scale? Is it lean enough to be efficient and, you know, not rigid enough to scale? Are roles clearly defined? Are roles clearly defined? Are reporting lines supporting speed and accountability? Or are they slowing us down? You know, bureaucracies, are they working for us or against us? And just as important, as we're breaking down silos, are we really doing this? Are we breaking down silos? Are we making it easier for teams to collaborate across functions, to share knowledge, to innovate together? Or are we unintentionally building walls? I don't know the culture, I don't know the policies in your organization, but you know, if all of your policies, all of the standard operating procedures, how we do here in this organization, if it's not encouraging collaboration across functions, to share knowledge, to innovate together, then what you are building, what you are building are just walls, you know, and you can't, you can't build an organizational design that way. You can't scale that way. You can't help the organization that way. So every time we touch organizational design, whether it's a small structure or a full-on transformation, we should be asking ourselves one key question: does this structure help or hinder our ability to execute this business model? Is this what we are doing? Is it helping this organization to execute this business model, or is hindering our ability to actually do it? Because if the structure is not enabling the strategy, then something has to change. So number 4, culture. Culture that drives strategy. Culture that drives strategy. I've taught this again and again, even at retreats, you know, because one of the key problems of organizations is culture. Aligning, you know, the people with the culture, with the shared value of the organization, not the written core values, the shared, especially the unwritten ones, how we behave in this organization, you know, the totality, the sum of, you know, the behaviors of the people in the organizations, not what you wrote down as your core values. Your culture will eat strategy for breakfast. I think it was Drucker, you know, that said that. And I completely agree. But I also add this: the real power is when culture and strategy are actually working together. And it's possible when they are aligned and reinforcing each other. That's where we come in as HR professionals. You know, and as HR, one of our biggest levers is the ability to shape culture intentionally. That's one of our strengths, one of our levers, and not just letting it happen by accident. I know we have the line managers to contend with, you know, the corrupt leaders in the management team. Yes, we have them to contend with, but again, if we are going to earn our respect, we must go beyond being tools in the hand, a hire and fire tools in the hand of the CEO, to actually bring in real value to the organization, shaping cultures. And to do this culture and strategy, we must find a way to make them work together. We have to create an environment that supports high performance, you know, that encourages innovation, and that's agile enough
the fact that, so I was talking about the fact that culture and strategy needs to work together. You know, please let me just a minute. Let me just power the system so everything can be working together. So I was talking about culture and strategy. You know, working together. Putting password. I'm trying to open Zoom here, so it becomes, I don't have to be saying next, but while it's opening, let me speak to that. So, like I said, you know, all of these motivational posters that we hang on the wall, you know, we need to actually go beyond that to the actual behavior of the people of the organization. And it starts with leadership, you know. It starts with leadership, you know, the way decisions are made, you know, the way people treat each other, you know, on a tough day, yes. The way people treat each other, you know, on a tough day, we need to focus on all of this. We need to make sure that the culture we are building is aligned with what the business is trying to achieve. We need to ensure that if your the culture we're trying to build aligns with the business, what the business is trying to achieve. If your business model is built on speed and innovation, for instance, but your culture is overly risk averse and slow to act, that's a problem, a real problem there. So we need to ensure that the culture we are building is aligned with what the business is trying to achieve. So we drive culture through leadership, we drive culture through communication. Please, let's note, not through core values. We drive culture through rituals, systems, you know, and we need to be consistent about this. We need clarity on this, you know, and it's our job to make sure that culture is not just buzzwords that we just ramble together. It must be a strategic asset for the organization, because when culture is strong and aligned, strategy execution becomes easier, it becomes faster and more sustainable. And when people realize it is not, HR is often the custodian of that culture, and they will blame us. So last but not the least, on your screen, you can see performance and reward system. And this is crucial because people tend to focus on what they are rewarded for. You know, when your performance and reward system need to, when they are strategically aligned with the business goals, then, you know, it's a jackpot. So they must be aligned. They must be aligned. So it's about more than just tracking activity or checking off tasks. You need performance management system, a very strong one that actually measures what matters, the KPIs that matters, you know, the kind of outcomes that will move the needle for the business. You know, everybody can be busy. You know, busyness does not mean productivity. So it's not about how busy people are, but about the strategic impact of that business, the strategic impact they are having. So then we look at the entire reward structure, compensation, bonuses, promotions, recognitions. All of it needs to be tied to clear business outcomes. they must be tied to clear business outcomes, and this should not just be HR fluff. We need to make sure that when employees perform well, they see that those efforts directly contribute to the bigger picture. Whether this means growth, innovation, customer satisfaction, or whatever your business model is designed to deliver. Reward must be tied to performance. Reward must be tied to performance, and all of this compensation, promotion, bonuses, recognition, they must be tied to business outcomes. And importantly, we need to help employees see the connection between their daily work and the organization's larger mission. It's our job to do this. When they know how their role fits into the overall strategy, they are more motivated to put in the effort. When people understand that their performance truly matters and that their efforts will be rewarded accordingly, that's when you see engagement levels soar. You see engagement levels skyrocket, because now they understand that their performance matters. They see the contributions of their efforts to the larger picture, and then engagement leads to commitment, and commitment ultimately drives business success. But if you don't understand the business of the organization, you don't know the model they run, you cannot craft it, how are you going to be able to contribute to this? Can we move to the next slide, please? The next slide. Yes, core competencies, capabilities, core capabilities, HR must develop. We're talking about core capabilities that we as HR professionals need to develop in order to truly step into the role of a business architect. We must go beyond the traditional people management skills to influence strategy. We must do this and that's going beyond the traditional people management skills to drive innovation. We must do this to lead transformation. We need a new set of capabilities. And first, business acumen and financial literacy. I've said this times and again that, for all of us on this call, please take financial management courses. It's going to help you. Take courses on economics. Take courses on economics. Take on financial literacy. If you are going to shape the future of your organization, you need to understand how the business actually makes money. You need to grasp not just the people side of things, but the financials too. This is non-negotiable. You need to know your organization's key products, services, markets, customers, who you are serving, and how you are creating value. You must know. Please don't say that is the work of sales, business development, marketing, CEO. Please, you must know. And that's what gives you a seat at the table. Then get comfortable with the financial statements, like the profit and loss, balance sheet, cash flow reports. What else? And all of these jargons, finance people come and bamboozle us with. These are not, just for the finance teams. They are the language of the business. That's what they speak at the board. When you are engaging in conversations around revenue, costs, margins, ROIs, that's return on investments, rather than just focusing on recruitment or policy, that we usually do. That's when you become a true business partner. When you begin to engage in conversations, around revenue, around costs, around margins, every CEO wants to hear you, suggest how to solve the problems of the organization. Don't let them see you. Don't let them see you. Well, maybe they have seen you, safe. But you can change the narrative. They are seeing you as the department that brings problem. As you are coming to tell them people problems. Also come up with how to solve the problems. As you are coming with a problem, suggest how to solve the problems. But beyond that, also contribute to how the organization will make more money to solve the problem. That's where the challenge is, because in our head now we feel this is not our concern. Everything is your concern. You are HR, your problem. You are the one that created it, including the ones you didn't create, because you were the one that brought in the people that created the problems. So please, we must be able to do this quickly. The second one, data-driven decision making. I've said times and again that HR has shifted, and it's no longer about gut feelings or intuition. We're in an age where everything needs to be backed by insights. I've thought severally. I have a series on my YouTube page. I've taught this community on generating insights from HR data. How to do this. There was even, I think, 2 sessions on hands-on, using Excel to generate these insights, creating dashboards, and using artificial intelligence to interpret, to actually generate insights, from HR data. So we are in that age where everything needs to be backed by insights. So here's what you need to do. Start using data to make those critical decisions around hiring, around retention, around learning, around engagement. The days of guessing or assuming are over. Track trends, measure the impact of your HR initiatives. Do you know? You don't know, and that's why they keep calling you call center. That's why it looks like they're not ready to pay you attention. Understand what's actually driving results. You need to be able to show how HR initiatives are impacting business outcomes, and provide, show workings, as we say in Lagos, and don't just collect data for the sake of it. Present it in a way that influences business direction, whether you are using dashboards, employee surveys, or, performance metrics, you must be able to take the data, interpret it, and use it to drive strategy. Please, I highly recommend that course I took on creating HR dashboards, from your data, creating pivot tables, using slicers, and then pivot charts, bringing the charts together, inserting slicers, and then you're able to sort. So at a glance, that's what you present to management. Even if the data sets contain, 1 million rows, you can summarize the entire, data, with a dashboard. So we must get to that level. And now, so if you are not actively leveraging data to make decisions, you are missing out. Your ability to actually do this, as interpret and act on data, is going to be what separates you from the average HR practitioner, and what positions you as a true business leader in the organizations. So because of our time, let's leave that there. I believe I've stretched this enough, and let's look at design thinking and innovation management. Design thinking and innovation management. Please note that to truly support evolving business models, you have to bring creativity and problem solving right into the core of your HR practices. I know some of us ran away from maths. We ran away from, we ran to HR because we don't want to stress ourselves, But you can't run away from creativity now. You can't run away from problem solving. It's not possible. You need to apply design thinking, that human-centered approach where you solve problems with empathy. Yes, experimentation, quick iteration, something like, using a flexible, agile, my ECM, my doctor. The slide is awful. Okay, you are sharing again. Because I'm speaking to that slide. So where we're using agile mindset to actually navigate challenges rather than sticking to rigid processes. So we should innovate. We must innovate, and that's why you see my the value I said I'm bringing to CIPM, council. I said disruptive innovation. Yes, that it has never been done does not mean we cannot do it. Yes, that it has never been done does not mean we cannot do it. Who says you must keep following tradition? Disrupt, change, innovate for as long as it will enhance efficiency. The reason nobody has paid attention to you is how they have been doing it since Lai. That's how you still do it. Think outside the box, shatter the box. There is no box. Just solve problems. Solve problems. Think of how to solve problems. Forget the book first. Forget the book first. We can always change policies now. We can always change SOPs. All of those SOPs now, in some of our organizations, some of those policies, they have become, clogs in the wheel of progress for us. So we want to think now we are limited by what has been written. We want to breathe. We have been limited by what has been written. That's why you see some of these new organizations, startups, they are soaring. Whereas giants that are driving trailers, the PLCs of this world, they are to make a U-turn, to make a bend, these new guys are driving sports cars. If they want to turn, you just turn. They are not bound by the traditions of men that had become a problem, to big organizations. But for a big organization to innovate, to scale, to make changes, they need to be slow with the turning, like driving a trailer. And that's some of the problems with us. So we must innovate our processes to improve employee experience, drive performance, and ultimately boost retention. And how do you make your people feel valued? We must think about this. How do you make their work more meaningful? Huh? And don't forget to also co-create solutions with your people. Co-create, not issuing directives. And not just for them, you are co-creating with them, not for them. It's not about top-down decision, that's top-down decision making anymore. You must engage. Yes, you must engage the employees in shaping solutions that will work for everyone. They must have a say. These Gen Zs, they must have a say. God help you. I'm praying for some of us that we would have retired before this next generation comes in. I'm sure you'll start seeing their drama all over social media. You have some of them at home as children. I don't know where they came from, but these ones are out of this world. We still made values where you don't argue with your superiors. All of these guys now, you are saying it, they are asking why. Anything you say, they are asking why. And if you threaten them too much, they leave. And I mean, your competitors are, even if you forget all these background checks, you think they will come and do with your organization. They're not doing any background check. In fact, they are offering the person you want to castigate, you feel is useless, is a rebel. They are offering the person, a raise on arrival. So we must give them a sense of belonging by co-creating with them and not, just creating for them. We must engage them in shaping solutions that actually work for everyone. And when you embrace innovations like that, HR goes from just managing policies and procedures to becoming powerhouse of fresh ideas, giving your organization a competitive edge. And that's where HR really needs to start driving value. Now, the next on the slide is strategic workforce analysis. Okay, thank you very much. Strategic workforce analytics. Strategic workforce analytics. Was that other slide you took me to? I was almost confused that I was still talking about the core capabilities we need to develop. So we should no longer be tracking headcounts and turnovers. I said that times and again. As HR leaders, we need to connect workforce insights directly to the business strategy. And what that means is that we need to use analytics to predict trends. That's workforce trends, things like skills gaps, what else? Succession risk, or even, what drives employee engagement. We need to know what is coming, not just what's happening right now. We need to be future ready. We need to think forward. Then link all of that silent data to key organizational performance metrics like productivity, things around profitability and innovation. And that's the real value of HR, making sure the right people with the right skills are in the right place to drive business outcomes. And, we then create talent dashboards that give your leadership team the insights they need to make smarter, faster decisions. And they are not waiting for problems to surface because analytics put you in a position to act before they even become issues. So by using strategic workforce analytics, you are able to shift HR from being a reactive team to being proactive, helping prevent problems rather than just responding to them. And that's where HR can start truly influencing business success. So last but not the least on this, we will be talking about change management and transformation leadership. The organization will eventually turn to you to help them lead through it. And as HR, your responsibility is clear. Guide your people through digital transformation. Guide them through restructuring. Guide them through cultural shifts or periods of rapid growth. But you are guiding them through, do you know? Do you know? The way you manage these phases can make or break the success of the organization. And this means being able to communicate clearly. You are managing resistance, any resistance that comes up, and you are able to provide steady support to your people, and you, when things feel uncertain, you're able to provide support to support your people needs. So change is always uncomfortable. I've said that times and again, but with the right leadership, you can make it smoother. With the right leadership in place, you can make it smoother. And you should not only be managing change for managing change's sake, you should be leading change. Your role in building change-ready teams, your role in fostering resilience, your role in ensuring your workforce remains adaptable is very crucial. And please roll up your sleeves and let's get to our work on all this. So I'll just leave it there, but I believe we all understand all of what I have said about these 5 capabilities. They are not just nice to have, like I said, they are non-negotiables for the HR professional who wants to lead strategically and design a winning business model. Let's not forget, we are talking about, designing a winning business model. That's you coming in now as a business architect. So let's start building them intentionally, invest in learning, practice consistently. The more you develop these capabilities, the more you will stand out, not just as an HR leader, but as a true business architect. So we move to the next slide, which is already on your screen, practical steps to becoming a business architect. Practical steps to becoming a business architect. I always say this. What we are talking about, that's this business architect of a thing, of business partnering, is not about job titles. It has to be a mindset, a skill set, and the way you show up strategically. You already have a seat at the table. I believe so. For you to be here, for you to be, to be leading HR efforts, congratulations. If they have not given you a seat at the table, go and hijack it, because HR, we can't, from what we have discussed, you have a seat at the table. So if they have not offered it to you, show the value you are bringing to the table, and they will offer that to you. So the key now is, what kind of impact are you making from that seat? What kind of impact are you making from that seat? The first thing you can start doing, starting today, to move from being just an HR operator to truly being a business architect, the first one is to develop business acumen within HR. You cannot afford to operate in silos anymore. So if you are going to align HR to where the business is going, then you need to deeply understand how the business runs. I mean, what are you selling? How are you making money? What's your cost structure? How, or let me say, what does profitability look like? So start speaking the language of the business. Know your revenue drivers. Understand the customer base. Study your industry and your competition. Be clear on what creates value, and just as importantly, what threatens, it. What creates value and what threatens it. Because, once you have all of these, once you have gotten to that level of business understanding, your HR strategies won't just be, about people. They are going to be about driving growth, about enabling innovation, about protecting the bottom line. And that's when you become truly indispensable. That's when you become truly indispensable. So quickly to number 2, and that's collaborate across functions. Business 6, or let me just say the success of businesses. That's business success is a team sport. And as HR, we are not just spectators. You are critical players on that field. business success must be seen as a team sport. It's not it's a football game where everybody is a key player, you know, and your role there, you are not sitting at the bench. You are on that field, you know, a critical player, like, you know, the playmaker, the number 10, you know, the JJ Okocha of this world, the Lionel Messi of this world. So your mindset must be to start partnering more intentionally. Yes. Start partnering more intentionally. Finance, operations, sales, marketing. Sit with them. Listen, understand their pain points and priorities. What keeps them up at night? You were the one that you would do their, you know, will design their, what do we call it now? Yes, you are going to, after, you know, at the board level, the consultant comes, creates a 3-year plan and gives it and pass it to management. You are the one as HR that will sit with them and ensure that they don't overload their team. So after loading them with the responsibilities, you go and sleep and you are waiting for them to fail. No, that's not how it works. Sit with them. Sit with them. Listen, understand their pain points, understand their priorities. What's making them shed secret tears? What metrics are they chasing? And then, you know, go beyond the traditional HR lane, join cross-functional project teams, contribute to solving business challenges, not just people problems. You are too concerned about people problems. Contribute to solving business challenges. And what I'm saying, you can't do IMU for me. There is hardly no function of business that I can't contribute to. I've said this times and again. In a single year, I earned more than 200 certificates. This year alone, maybe I shared with the community. I'm delving more into economics, into finance, into business analysis, IIBA. I've joined IIBA. You know, let's begin to dissect this business. Let's diagnose. You know, be more intentional about, you know, solving business issues and not just sitting down and talking people problems and culture and policies. You know, when you begin to align your people strategies with the actual operational realities on ground, that you as HR start to earn that seat that they are not giving you, not just as a support function, but as a strategic partner. And that's how you break the silos and build credibility. So another thing I would say is, don't wait to be invited into the conversation where the future of the business is being shaped. Step in, show up. Business model innovation is not just for the strategy team or the C-suite. You as HR must, and you should be right there when new ideas are being informed, are being crafted, are being formed. Whether it's a new product, a market expansion, a tech transformation, sit in on strategy sessions. Don't say it doesn't concern you. Sit in ideation meetings. Participate in innovation labs where those big conversations are happening. And when you are in the room, bring that people-centered perspectives to the table. Ask, you know, questions, people questions. What capabilities will we need to execute this? You are becoming a true strategic partner. What capabilities do we need? Because that's the one that concerns me most. How do we build the right rules around it? What kind of mindset shift is required from the workforce that will inform your training, you know, training needs? These are the kind of insights only HR can offer. You know, at the end of the day, business models, you know, don't run on spreadsheets. They run on people. So they need you. but you must be there and you must understand what they are doing to be able to bring that A game, your A game into what they are discussing. And when HR is part of designing the structures and systems that allow those people to perform, to scale, to adapt, you are not just supporting strategy, you are helping to shape it. They are not just supporting strategy, you are helping to shape it. So another one will be the people data. I've said it times and again. I've said it countless times in this meeting. Data is one of the most underutilized assets HR has. You have data, you don't know what to do with it. And I'm not just talking about tracking headcounts or how many people completed training last quarter. I mean, using data to shape real business conversations, So we must start by tracking the right metrics, things like retention, engagement, productivity levels, even emerging skill gaps. So don't stop at collecting numbers. The real value comes when you translate those numbers into business insights. When you translate them into business insights, how is turnover in a critical function impacting service delivery or revenue? The turnover in a critical function, how is it impacting service delivery or the amount of money that is coming in? Where are you seeing productivity bottlenecks? Which roles are truly value creating in this new model you are building? You must be able to ask those questions and generate those insights. Learn to present these insights in a way that influences decisions. Whether it's through dashboards, data storytelling, and all of these simple correlations. Make it easy for leaders to see what the data means and why it matters. And when you speak with data, you are not just reporting, you are influencing, and that's when you earn your respect. You are influencing. So you go from being seen as operational to being respected as strategic. They won't just push things to you to go and type. For some of you, they have turned you to admin manager, secretary, secretary to the CEO, a job you didn't apply for. That's how you earn your seat and keep it. Being able to bring that level of relevance, add value to the table. Now, one area where you really earn your stripes is in building talent pipelines that actually fuel business growth. Because no matter how brilliant your strategy is, without the right people to execute it, it's just theory. Theory. Growth is ultimately powered by talent. So our job is to make sure the business never runs short of the people it needs to thrive. It never runs short of the people, both today and more importantly tomorrow. And that means we need to move beyond reactive hiring. Hiring because people left. Hiring, we are reacting. Our recruitment effort is always reacting. We are reactive. So we have to build recruitment and development strategies that are forward-looking, that align with where the business is headed, not just where it is now. We need to anticipate capability needs before they become urgent. What skills are going to matter in 12, 18, 24 months? Start developing those now. Those skills through learning programs, mentorship, even internal mobility, And don't forget succession, especially in, our Nigerian context. In this Nigerian competitive market, If a key person leaves and there's no plan, it's going to, set your business back significantly. So succession planning for critical roles should not be optional because it's a risk management strategy. So think of it this way: your talent pipelines should be as intentional and as strategic as your product roadmap or market expansion plan, because at the end of the day, people are the growth engine that your organization has. People. So another thing I will talk about here is agility. The way this world is moving, static HR models, they don't cut anymore. They don't cut anymore. So we need to start thinking and operating with agility. We need to start thinking and operating with agility. And that means adopting more iterative, approaches, short cycles, quick feedback loops, continuous tweaks rather than one big bang rollout every few years, So if you have a new initiative, maybe it's a performance management tweak or a learning platform, don't go all in just yet. Pilot it, test it with a small group, gather feedback, and then you refine. And that way you're able to reduce resistance, you're able to increase adoption, and you actually land more wins. And then policy issues, policy issues. You have all been traditionally, rigid, black and white. But the market is too dynamic for that right now. Market is too dynamic. We need to align, a design framework that give room for adjustment based on real-time realities. Yes, we need to design this on real-time realities and not just one black and white and everybody are struggling to adapt. Some of these are obsolete, they are outdated, and then the organization is not even, everybody is just struggling with it. Even you yourself, you are struggling with it, but you are written it. And the rule says you must comply. When HR is agile, the business becomes more resilient. We can adapt faster, we can pivot, smarter, and then we can support leaders in navigating uncertainty, not after the fact, but in the moment. And that's how we stay relevant. That's how we lead. That's how we lead. So last but not the least, the Nigerian issue. You can have the most brilliant global strategy, but if it's not grounded in local realities, it's not going to land. It's on court. So we need to be fluent in the Nigerian business context, labor laws, government policies, compliance issues. They shouldn't be just legal checkbox. They directly affect how we hire, how we reward and retain talent. So if you don't understand the regulatory space, you could be designing systems that get you in trouble instead of driving performance. But beyond compliance, there's culture. Nigeria is incredibly diverse. All of us know, ethnically, religiously, even in workplace expectations. What motivates someone in Lagos might not land the same way in Kano or Port Harcourt, and that's okay. Job is to recognize those nuances and design HR interventions that actually respect and reflect them. So the real edge comes when your HR strategy is not just strategic, but it's also contextually intelligent, grounded in Nigeria, but still aligned with global standards. And that's how we create HR systems that work here, not just on paper, but actually in practice. So that's where I will draw the curtain for this talk. I was hoping we will wrap this up as soon as possible so we can, I can show you how, I have a workbook that I've designed, and I was hoping we'll finish this and that I'll be able to walk you through the workbook. But again, that will mean that you will also need the workbook at your end. So as I do, you do, I wanted to show you how the link canvas works in practical terms. But maybe we can always have another day, because again, we have spent one and a half hours on this call. And this is where I want to draw the curtains, because today is Saturday evening. Some of us will be going to church tomorrow. And on this note, I want to say thank you to everyone for staying on this call up till now. And thank you to my brother, Dr. Oluyemi Adeosho, for bringing me here. I hope I've been able to address this issue. The only thing left is the practical session where we actually design a business model using either the business model canvas or the link canvas. But I wanted to show you the link canvas because, of course, we've discussed the business model canvas. So on this note, I want to hand over back to Dr. Adeosho so that if there are questions, I'll just attend to them. And if there are none, we can say good night from here and go and prepare for Sunday tomorrow. God bless you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Sean Olabode Badiro. This was an excellent presentation. Thank you so much. This has been very good. Let's just, as we in our usual practice, please, let's unmute and let's appreciate Sean Olabode Badiro. We are free to unmute, please.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
God bless you. Thank you very much. Grateful. Thank you for being here till now. It means a lot to me. God bless you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, sir.
God bless you. Please vote for me. Let's continue to drive.